to meeting number 82 of the House of Commons Standing Committee on Government Operations and Estimates, fondly known as the Mighty Ogo. Now, pursuant to Standing Order 1082 and the motion adopted by the committee on Monday, October 17, 2022, the committee is meeting on the study of the ArriveCAN application. Colleagues, a reminder not to put earpieces next to the microphone as it causes feedback and potential injury. And in accordance with our routine motion, I'm informing the committee that all witnesses appearing by video conference have completed the required connection tests in advance of the meeting. Now we have as witnesses today Mr. Wood and Mr. Yao. I understand you each have opening statements.
A point of order, Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Cusi.
Yes. My understanding, and perhaps the clerk will correct me if I'm wrong, is that whether individuals are sworn in or not, under parliamentary privilege, it is still contempt of Parliament to mislead the committee by giving a false statement or false evidence to refuse, unless related to cabinet confidence, to answer any questions or to fail to produce documents that this committee might require someone to produce. That is my understanding. Could the chair please clarify for, or excuse me, the clerk please clarify for that for the committee, please? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Did you wish to clarify, or would you like me to comment? Yeah, Ms. Cusi, there's a couple items from the Power of Parliamentary Houses to send for persons, papers, and records, the book. Whether people are sworn in or not under parliamentary privilege, it's still contempt of Parliament to mislead the committee by giving a false statement or false evidence, to refuse to provide questions or documents, regardless of whether sworn in or not. And then page 1081 of the House of Commons Practices and Procedures states, refusal to answer questions or failure to reply truthfully may give rise to a charge of contempt of the House, whether the witness has been sworn in or not. Is that satisfactory for your point of order?
It is,
your question?
It is satisfactory. I'm wondering if it's historic practice within this committee to swear in the witnesses, please.
I believe the last was 2003, so it's not common.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks. Sorry, Mr. Yao and Mr. Wood, you each have opening statements, or are you sharing one statement? I'm sorry.
We each have opening statements.
Perfect. Why don't we start with you, Mr. Yao, and it's 5 minutes, please. We are short of time today. Of course, we're running late, so if you appreciate if you just stick to the 5 minutes. Please go ahead, Mr. Yao.
Mr. Chair, merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. Je m'appelle David Yeo. J'apprécie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much. My name is Mr. Yao, and I appreciate these discussions today.
And honorable members of the committee, I would like to acknowledge that the land that we gather on today is the traditional and ancestral and unceded territory of the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation, and is now home to many other First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. I'm a decorated veteran. During my 36-year career with the Canadian Army, which included deployments to Afghanistan and the Middle East, I was held to the highest levels of integrity, and of course, I continue to conduct myself in this manner today. I would also like to further acknowledge that Chief Robert Franklin, my great-grandfather, and past chief of Alderville First Nation, is a treaty-signing chief. This treaty was signed on November 19th, 1923, almost 100 years ago to the day, and as a direct descendant of a treaty-signing chief, I hold my heritage in the utmost integrity as well. I happen to have the treaty here with me today to help guide us through these discussions. In 2003, I was asked to participate in the creation of the Government of Canada's policy for the procurement strategy for Aboriginal business, or what is known today as the procurement strategy for Indigenous business. Mr. Alan Frost, myself, and many other Indigenous leaders created this policy that guides the Government of Canada today in supporting Indigenous businesses with federal government procurement opportunities. Dalian is a hardware and software cybersecurity company that I founded 23 years ago. In addition to myself, and as much as possible, we prioritize the hiring of Indigenous employees and the deployment of Indigenous consultants to work on projects for the Government of Canada. Dalian and Curatics are in joint venture under the procurement strategy for Indigenous business. We established this joint venture in 2004. In the JV, Dalian provides professional services in cybersecurity and networking, and Curatics provides IT professional services. In every project for the Government of Canada, Dalian follows all procurement and contracting rules and policies. We deliver according to scope of work or task authorizations that we receive, and only invoice for work performed, completed, signed off by technical authorities, or according to the terms and conditions of the contract. Miigwech, and now I will pass off to Mr. Wood.
Point of order,
Monsieur
Chair.
Le Président.
Pardon me, before
Merci
Mr.
beaucoup.
Wood. Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Wood, before you start, we have another point of order. If you could just bear with us a second.
Yeah, given the unfortunate late start we had a result of votes, I'm hoping that we might be able to get the witnesses to stay for an extended period of time, given that we started close to 40 minutes late. I'm hoping perhaps if we could get their assurance to stay till like the 6 o'clock hour, something along that line, that would be very much appreciated, Chair, given the late start that we had. Thank you.
I think they have confirmed for an hour from our start time. Gentlemen, are you able to stay longer than that?
That's correct. We've made accommodations to our schedules, and we can stay for the hour that we committed to.
Okay. Are you they passed the hour is the question from one of our colleagues on the committee.
The hour, we're comfortable with the hour.
Okay. We do have them for the 1 hour from the start time.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Mr. Wood, please just go ahead with your 5 minutes, please.
Mr. Chair and honorable members of the committee, my name is Colin Wood. I joined Curatics in 2016 and have been president since November of 2021. I'm also a director with Dalian. I've been working in the IT professional services sector for more than 20 years. And Curatics is an IT consulting company that has been operating for close to 30 years since 1995. Dalian is a hardware and software cybersecurity company that has been operating for more than 20 years. Curatics and Dalian are in a joint venture under the procurement strategy for Indigenous business. Curatics and Dalian share a 2-floor commercial office in downtown Ottawa, as well as several corporate functions, including business development, proposal services, account management, and administration. We have more than 40 employees and currently have 475 consultants working on a range of IT projects for the Government of Canada. Over the years, Curatics and Dalian have provided IT products and services to most federal government organizations. We have also provided thousands of IT consultants with a broad range of technical skills, expertise, education, training, and experience to support, implement, and successfully deliver hundreds of projects for the Government of Canada departments and agencies. In every project for the government, Curatics and Dalian follow all procurement and contracting rules and policies. We deliver according to scope, task authorizations we receive, and only invoice for work performed, completed, and signed off by technical authorities according to the terms and conditions of the contract. The outsourcing of IT professional services is an effective approach that allows the government to access leading-edge skills and expertise that it needs to plan and execute specific projects within a defined period of time. These specialized expertise and skills are not available internally. Curatics and Dalian compete for, maintain, and manage a variety of standing offers and supply arrangements with numerous federal government organizations. We have also obtained and maintained a variety of security clearances for our company, employees, and consultants, which allow us to work on highly sensitive and confidential projects. There is, of course, a business cost to all of this. On projects we undertake for the government, We provide task response and administration project planning, contract management, account management, security clearance, and CISD administration, and administrative functions, including contracting, invoicing, payments to employees, consultants, and contractors. These consultants that provide services to the government report to and are under the direction, supervision, and control of Government of Canada employees. On ArriveCan, in May of 2020, Coradix and Dalian began receiving task authorization requests to support software development work on mobile applications. And this was under our task-based informatics professional service contract with the CBSA. From May 2020 to May 2023, we provided 20 IT professionals to perform various functions on the ArriveCan project, including software development, testing, project management, technology architecture, and cybersecurity. The billing rates for these IT professionals range from $540 to $1,000 per day, depending on the service they were providing, their level of expertise, and their experience. These rates are consistent with market rates for IT professional services. While this does not in any way relate to ArriveCan, I would like to use my remaining time to provide a few comments relating to Bottler. On November 11th, 2020, we were contacted by CBSA for a task authorization request under our BTID contract. GC Strategies was informed by CBSA that we had received the task request for these services. They then contacted us to advise that they had a team with the experience and expertise CBSA was seeking to work on this project. GC Strategies provided us with the CVs of the Bottler team, which we then submitted to CBSA with our task authorization response. This project with CBSA was deliverable based. There were 6 expected deliverables, each with a budget of $70,000. CBSA received and accepted 2 of the 6 anticipated deliverables provided by Bottler and were paid $112,000 by GC Strategies. Coradix and Dalian were paid $14,000 per deliverable for the tasking, oversight, account planning and management, security clearance and administration services related to the project, as well as accepting the overall risk associated in a deliverables-based task authorization. On December 14, 2021, CBSA advised Coradix, Dalian, GC Strategies, and Bottler that they were terminating the project. This happens when the client decides the project is no longer needed or it's not meeting expectations in terms of quality, timelines, and or budget. That is the extent of our dealings with Bottler. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. And we'll start with Ms. Kusi for 6 minutes, please.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being here today. From our understanding, the CBSA hired GC Strategies to work on ArriveCan, who then in turn hired both of you. Is this a regular relationship between your firms that GC Strategies would hire Dalian and Coradix, excuse me?
Mr. Chair, we weren't hired by GC Strategies.
Okay, did you sign a contract with GC Strategies?
Yes, GC Strategies is a subcontractor that we occasionally work with, and we worked with them on the Bottler AI task authorization.
Okay, and would you submit that contract to the committee, please?
Yes, we can.
What was the billing process?
Our billing process is, for this contract in particular, was deliverables based. Once the contractors complete a deliverable, it is signed off by a Government of Canada employee. Once we receive the signed off deliverable, we then invoice CBSA.
You followed that process?
Pardon me?
And you followed that process?
Yes.
For all billing?
Yeah, there were only there were only 2 deliverables submitted against this task authorization until the contract was terminated in late December of 2021.
Okay, so who actually completed the work for ArriveCan?
We subcontracted that work to a company called GC. Pardon me?
Go on, please.
Yep, we subcontracted that work to GC Strategies, who is in partnership with Bottler AI.
Okay. Were you hired by the CBSA in order to help them fulfill their obligations under Bill C-65?
We were provided a task authorization by CBSA to provide a pilot project with the technology that was built by a company called Bottler AI. CBSA then informed GC Strategies that we received this task authorization, and that's when they contacted us.
Okay, can you please provide the committee with the contracts you signed with GC Strategies and the production of the Arrive CAN app, please?
I'm confused,
You
Mr.
already
Chair.
agreed to do that. All right, thank you. I'll continue. Can you provide any email communication that contain the words GC Strategies, Arrive CAN, or Bottler? Would you table that with this committee, please?
There are many emails that we send to CBSA, and that some of those GC Strategies was included on. The sensitive nature of those emails, I don't think at this time we're in a position to provide those. I would talk to CBSA if you would like.
Okay, that's a no. Thank you. Can you provide the contracts you signed with GC Strategies for the program set by the CBSA to fulfill their obligations under Bill C-65, otherwise known as the Bottler Project?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much. What was your involvement with Bottler?
We were not involved with Bottler. We didn't have a contract with Bottler. Our contract, we subcontracted the work to GC Strategies.
Okay, what work did Dalian complete in the building of the program to help the CBSA fulfill its obligations under Bill C-65?
Well, that would go back to 2019 when we responded to an RFP at CBSA. If the chair would allow me to explain how our business works and how we arrived at, we were awarded that contract, it might help explain how we were given this task authorization.
What's the total value of contracts you've received from GC Strategies? Would you say, what's the total value?
Mr. Chair, and to the member, we haven't received contracts from GC Strategies.
What's the total value of contracts you've received from CBSA?
I don't have that. I can provide that to you in writing.
Okay, please
in
do.
a later time. I don't have that in front of me. I was prepared today to speak about ArriveCAN and Bottler AI.
Okay, what's the total amount of contracting that you've done with the entire government?
Mr. Chair, I'm just not prepared to talk about that today. We are here to talk about ArriveCAN and some expanded questions on Bottler AI.
Okay. What different departments have you done contracting for? Has Dalian and both Dalian and Coretix done contracting for?
Yeah, we have responded to and been awarded several contracts in many government of Canada departments and agencies.
Can you provide a list of them, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so you'll provide a list of those to the committee. That's great. How much of your...
Could you, Mr. Chair, if we could have a time period for that, please?
We will, I'll follow up after this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you see the resumes of that were submitted to CBSA prior to their submission for Mr. Amir and Ms. Ratika?
Yeah. So I can walk you through that process. We did not produce or edit any of the CVs that were provided to that submission. Those CVs were provided to us by GC Strategies on behalf of Bottler. I understand the question, and we were disappointed that we were put in a position of passing along CVs that did contain incorrect information. It is not uncommon for us to work with other companies as subcontractors, including big multinational companies. And when those firms provide us with CVs for their individuals or teams, we take those CVs to be valid as provided. As our contract states,
I'm sorry to
we
interrupt,
ensure that...
Mr. Wood, I'm sorry to interrupt. That is our time. Just to get back to you, our clerk will provide to you just a summary of the requests for documents. In this committee, we've passed a motion. We do require those documents within 3 weeks of today, but we will follow up with you. Mr. Jouari, you're splitting time with Mr. Baines? Go
yes,
ahead.
I am, and thank you very much, and thank you for witnesses coming to the committee. Right off the bat, I just want to get some clarification. Mr. Wood, did Bottler at any time work through GC Strategies on ArriveCAN?
The Bottler AI project was not related in any way to ArriveCAN.
None of the, neither Amir nor Nitika's time was spent on Anyway ArriveCan. Okay, so that's aside. So, what was the involvement that your company had, and also Mr. Yu, as far as Dalian regarding ArriveCan?
Oh, okay. I can speak to that, Mr. Chair. Thank you, and to the member. Our involvement on ArriveCan began in 2000, where we were awarded a contract in August of 2019. And on this contract, to provide services to the BTID group at CBSA, we began receiving in May of 2020 task authorizations related to the ArriveCan project. All the way through into May 2023 until the last consultant finished their assignment. Through the course of providing we provided 20 consultants who, and I'll give you the exact details on that. 3 of the 20 consultants worked on deliverables-based contracts where the client must accept and sign off completion of the project milestones before accepting invoices and making payments. The value of these contracts was $1.2 million. And the work was done over 3 years, an average of $133,000 a year per consultant per year. The remaining 17 consultants worked approximately 5,100 days over a 3-year period. The cost of this was $3.7 million, on average of $725 per day per consultant. The 5,100 days over the 3 years works out to an average of 100 days per year per consultant, and there are 230 business days per year. Our total amount invoiced to CBSA was approximately $4.5 million.
So the amount of development and resources that you put roughly come around 4.5. This is the testimony that we had heard before on ArriveCan. So thank you very much for that. Who do you specifically work with when you are trying to form these contracts with CBSA? Do you go through GC Strategy and GC Strategy comes in, or you have a direct relationship with someone in CBSA?
Yeah, so like I indicated, we competed for and won a contract at CBSA in 2019, and were subsequently awarded the contract through that competitive process in August of 2019. The work we perform for CBSA is all based on the receipt of task authorizations provided by various clients at CBSA. GC Strategies is not involved in this at all. They are a subcontractor that we have occasionally done work with.
I'll pass the rest of the time to my colleague.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'm just going to jump right into it. Mr. Yeo, for how many years would you say Dalian has been working on federal contracts?
Yes, Mr. Chair and Mr. Member, thank you for the question. I started the company 23 years ago, and we started out as a hardware and software company back in 2001. We ended up coming into the time frame of around 2007.
Okay.
And started to add on professional services contracting, meaning TBIPs and SBIPs and PS Online and those types of kind of professional services contracts within the federal government for both.
Thank you. And I'm just going to ask the same question to Mr. Wood. Same thing. Same question to you. What years has Coredex been awarded federal contracts? How many years? You're on mute.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, sir.
Yeah, as I mentioned in my opening statements, Coredex is nearly 30 years old. And I would say going back approximately 27 or 28 years was when we began to respond to RFPs provided by the federal government. And I mean, that would have been, our first wins would have been in and around that time period.
Okay, and during our previous meeting, representatives from Bottler claimed that Dalian's alleged Aboriginal ownership of at least 51% was a cover to allow Coredex to do the actual work. In their words, they called it the monetization and theft using the trauma of marginalized communities. How do you respond to this accusation?
Mr. Chair, I think I'm going to allow, if it's okay with you, Dave Yo, to answer this question. He can give some clarification on how the PSIB works.
In about 20 seconds, Mr. Yo.
Okay, so I'll try and be quick. Very proud to be a part of the PSAB and the PSIB, which is a procurement strategy for Indigenous business. I helped form the policy. I've worked through Alan Frost and INAC and ISC now, and still continue to do that today. We are completely, registered and have audits very regularly anytime we do JVs or anytime other, and we are completely compliant with the PSAB and with the PSIB. So these types of accusations, don't ring true, in my opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Baines. Thank you, Mr. Yo. And Ms. Vignola, please, for 6.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Monsieur.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Wood, I'm trying to understand how everything happened. So, just to confirm, you received a contract from the Border Service Agency, and then you subcontracted to GC Strategies, and then GC Strategies subcontracted to individuals. How was security ensured during the creation of ArriveCan? Because there was sensitive data there with 3 levels of subcontractors.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, again, ArriveCan is in no way related to the Bottler AI project.
J'ai même pas mentionné Butler, je parlais d'Arrive.
I didn't mention Bottler, I mentioned ArriveCan.
Je vous demande de clarifier. Vous avez reçu un...
I'm asking for clarification. You received a contract from CBSA, and then you subcontracted to GC Strategies, and GC Strategies also went looking for other subcontractors. We don't know who. And so my question is, all of these different subcontractors, how can security be ensured if there are all these different levels of subcontractors involved?
I'll attempt. I believe there's a couple of questions in there, Mr. Chair, and to the member. We have no contracts, and we do not do any work with GC Strategies on ArriveCan. As for the security process, I can walk you through how that works, and particularly at CBSA and for all of the contractors we provided for the ArriveCan project. Once we receive a task authorization, every consultant that we propose and we put forward in response to a task authorization goes through 2 processes. They either have to have an existing secret clearance, or we issue or we apply for their security clearance through CISD and PSPC. In addition to that, CBSA conducts their own internal security screening. So any contractor, any consultant that works on a project at CBSA, and for that matter, in any federal government department on any contract, must be security cleared.
Merci.
Thank you. What is your contractual relationship with Ms. Rikita Dutt?
We have no contractual relationship with Ritika Dutt whatsoever.
Et vous n'avez jamais rien facturé.
And you never billed anybody with the name Rikita Dutt and the work done with her, the name of her business. It never happened, not even in 2021?
The task authorization request that we received from CBSI from CBSA for Bottler AI for the Bottler AI pilot was subcontracted through GC Strategies, who is in partnership with Bottler AI. As part of our submission and response to that task authorization, Ratika Dutt's profile was submitted by them through us to CBSA.
Le contrat numéro 4.
Contract 47419-206-529-001-EL refers to what precisely?
That is the task authorization request from CBSA for firm price deliverables for the Bottler AI project.
Et étiez-vous impliqué dans le projet Bottler?
And were you involved in the Bottler AI project?
You're muted again, Mr. Wood.
Sorry for that, Mr. Chair. Regarding this task authorization and the work with Bottler AI, we were the prime contract holder. The resources, including Ratika Dutt, were provided to us by GC Strategies, who is in partnership with Bottler AI.
Alors, si c'est GC Strategies qui fournit les...
So if GC Strategies provides the resources, how do you explain the fact that there's a bill with the Dalian letterhead billed to CBSA? There's at least one bill.
I think it's important to understand, and I think this is a question for probably GC Strategies and their contractual relationship with each other or with Bottler AI. Our contract to provide these deliverables was through GC Strategies. Our invoice, we invoiced the Crown, we invoiced CBSA and paid GC Strategies, who paid Bottler AI.
Thank you, Mr. Wood, and thank you, Ms. Vinola. Mr. Johns, please, for 6.
So maybe you can explain again, what is your relationship with Christian Firth of GC Strategies? Mr. Wood, can you maybe elaborate how often you do business with Mr. Frith and GC Strategies?
Yeah, GC Strategies is a subcontractor that we have done work with from time to time.
For how long?
The first contract, the first arrangement we were in was back, I believe, in 2020.
Do you have a personal relationship with Mr. Frith?
No.
Okay. Mr. Frith boasted that, a committee, this is Mr. Morv's testimony last Thursday, and he cited that Mr. Frith boasted to them that he had dirt on various senior federal public servants who are responsible for awarding government contracts. Did Mr. Frith ever share anything like that with you, or about his connections in the public service?
I don't know anything about that.
Okay. Can you tell me about? Let me get this straight. You submitted information about Ms. Dutt and Mr. Morv to around their task authorization. And you're saying that you're not responsible because you subbed it out to Mr. Frith. Mr. Frith possibly gave you the wrong information about them, inflating their expertise. And you're saying that you're not responsible, even though it's your contract?
No, that's not what I said. We are accepting responsibility. That's our mistake. We have a quality management system in place. We take these matters very seriously. In a case where we're working with a third party, is what this was. We don't engage their subcontractors. We don't engage their consultants. We have non-solicitation agreements. We would never reach out to GC Strategies contractors, and we can only accept those CVs to be valid.
Okay, so why not? Like, I guess when you see a situation like this, next time will you be doing your due diligence, given...
Yeah, Mr. Chair, and to the member, we are an ISO 9001-2015 certified company, which means our processes are certified. We have a very strict quality management system, and we are in the process right now of examining our processes.
I bet you are.
And we will be making changes.
Okay. So here's the thing. Does Mr. Frith come to you and say, hey, I've got a solution? Oh, what's the problem?
This,
Or is it more
I'm
like
not-
you go to Mr. Frith and say, I need help with something? Or does he
I
come to
can-
you and try to engage you?
Yeah, well, if I can speak to, I can answer the question in relation to the Bottler AI task authorization. Is that what you're asking me?
Just overall in your relationship with GC Strategies.
Well, typically, I mean, we don't have a relationship. We have done business from time to time, but typically clients came to us, and in this instance, for the Bottler AI project, they were named in the task authorization request, and CBSA did inform GC Strategies.
So when you hire a subcontractor and they have a dispute with the sub that's subbing from the subcontractor like Bottler and GC Strategies, and there is work been done, but you've been paid for, that one of your subs has been done, do you leave that with the first sub responsibility to pay them? Or because you've been paid for the work that they've been done, like in Bottler's case, where they claim that they've done $350,000 worth of work, do you not take responsibility for that? Or do you communicate with your initial sub and say the work's been done, why haven't you paid the vendor?
Yeah. Well, CBSA, so there's a few things there, Mr. Chair, and to the member. CBSA received only 2 deliverables from Bottler AI before they terminated their contract. And in these types of relationships, we only communicate with the company that we hold a contractual arrangement with. And it's also a fact.
So they can basically stiff or bankrupt a company that's doing work for Canadian taxpayers. Basically, that sub could bankrupt somebody that's doing honest, good work for Canadians. That's what I'm getting at. Can you tell me who Patrick Van Abema is and what his relationship with you is?
Bottler was paid for both of those deliverables, by the way. Patrick Van Abema was also included on the task authorization for the Bottler AI project.
On the Bottler, any money on the Bottler contract?
Sorry, I missed part of the question.
Did you make a commission on the Bottler contract at all? And if so, how much was it?
Yep. The total value of the Bottler AI, each deliverable was worth $70,000. They submitted 2 deliverables, and Craddox and Dalian made $14,000 on each deliverable.
In terms of the Indigenous set-asides, I've got lots of questions related to this. I really value the program because Indigenous involvement and leadership in Canadian procurement is an important aspect of reconciliation. How many joint ventures have Dalian and Cordux gone into?
We have been in a joint venture since 2004. And from time to time, when we decide to respond to RFPs, we make a decision together on whether to engage in RFP as a joint venture or independently.
So how many joint ventures have Dalian and Cordux gone into that were not connected to the Indigenous set-aside program?
Mr. Chair and to the member, I don't have that number for you. I apologize.
Could you produce that number within 3 weeks to this committee? Both how many joint ventures have Dalian and Cordux gone into, and how many joint ventures have Dalian and Cordux gone into that were not connected to the Indigenous set-aside program?
Sure.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mr. Barrett, please, for 5.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. To Mr. Yeo, what's the structure of your business as it relates to your counterpart on the other side of the desk there? How many employees do you have?
Yeah, Mr. Chair and Mr. Member, thank you very much for the question. So I started the business in 2001.
Not looking for what year it was founded. Looking for the structure, the org chart. If you could provide that in verbal terms in under 30 seconds.
Absolutely. So in 2001, I actually went to Craddox when I first won my first contract out of the PSAB, and we formed a business together, and they now, we basically hold, in a corporate structure, we have 2 full-time employees with Dalian, okay? But we have a shared services model that helps both companies basically, thrive as to what we're doing today.
Thank you. In a minute, we learned you have 2 employees. Dalian and Cordux were paid a combined $4.3 million. Is that correct for the ArriveCAN program?
Approximately, yes.
And what value did Canadians receive for that $4.3 million?
Yeah. So we received approximately 20 task authorizations to deliver IT professional services in software development, testing, project management, and technology architecture and cybersecurity.
Sir, did your employees do that, or did you subcontract that work out?
We work with IT consultants, and they're subcontractors.
Okay. Do you have ongoing business with GC Strategies?
No, they are a subcontractor that we have worked with occasionally.
Was Bottler a subcontractor of yours?
No.
Are all of your subcontractors, do they all have appropriate security clearance?
Absolutely.
Okay. So GC Strategies had the appropriate security clearance always to see the material that they worked on?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Did GC Strategies always have the appropriate security clearance for the projects that they were working on?
Contractors that appear on our contracts must have security duplicated by the company holding the contract. As such, anybody being put forward on a task authorization to any government department, including CBSA, has to have a duplication of their security clearance by that firm.
Is that
Therefore,
true?
we held the security clearance for those 3 contractors on that TA.
So did everyone at Bottler have the appropriate security clearance for the work that they did?
That's what that's what I'm just communicating to you. The three people the 3 consultants that were on that TA all had security clearance.
Okay. The folks at Bottler said that they did not have the appropriate security clearance for the work that they were contracted to do.
Mr. Chair, and to the member, we processed their clearances ourselves and granted their security clearance through our security group by CISD. Okay. In addition, they were approved by CBSA's internal screening.
So you also applied the same vetting to their CVs that included their work history. That's correct?
Those CVs were provided by GC Strategies, and unfortunately, some of the information on those CVs was incorrect.
Isn't that part of the value add that you're telling us that Canadians received for the $4.3 million? Isn't that what we paid you for?
I think the value add was what CBSA was trying to accomplish with bringing Bottler AI in to help them build an AI technology pilot.
Okay, so if Bottler built it and CBSA used it, and your job was to make sure that everyone was qualified for the work, delivered the work, and was security cleared to do the work, did you make sure all those things were done?
The consultants that we provide through our task authorizations are under the direct supervision and control of Government of Canada employees. We do not get involved in scoping the work and providing any of the deliverables in the task authorization or the list of responsibilities for these consultants.
With all due respect, we know that the information that with respect to the CVs for Bottler was fraudulent, that fraud occurred, and on your letterhead, you passed it on to the government. And you were serving as this middleman, a very expensive $4.3 million clearinghouse for this work. So you cashed your check, and in exchange, Canadians didn't get the value that they should have. That billing that was done was based on fraudulent information. And so who is responsible for that? How is it that you're able to continue to do business with the Government of Canada when, in fact, we know that the billings, that this work was predicated on fraud? So it's incredibly concerning. It would be very helpful for this committee to have a list of all of the subcontractors that you do business with, because this is a very gray area. We don't know who those people are. Would you be willing to provide a list of all of your subcontractors for Government of Canada contracts to this committee?
Bottler AI was not part of ArriveCAN
Sir, my question is,
$4.3 million.
Sir, will you provide the list of your subcontractors to the committee?
For what purpose, Chair?
It's a request from one of our members, and it's a simple yes or no, Mr. Wood. I apologize, but I can't add context to it.
Mr. Chair, on what contract? On what project?
Could you be more specific, Mr. Barrett, then we have to move on?
Well, I think that it would be important for the the Standing Committee of Government Operations for the House of Commons to know everyone that you're using as a subcontractor, because there was fraud on this contract. Canadians should know who your subs are, because this is essential for integrity. That's our role here is to
Briefly,
provide
Mr.
that to
Barrett,
Canadians.
please.
So we're looking for the list of your subcontractors so that we can find out if all of your representations to the government are true.
Mr. Chair, and to the member, we have 15,000 consultants in our database right now, and 475 of them are doing work in the federal government right now.
I think
Are you sure they're all who they say they are?
we're going to have to move on, Mr. Barrett. Sorry.
Maybe a point of order.
No,
Chair,
briefly, Mr. Janius, then we're going to move on, please.
Is there agreement that the committee orders the production of that information?
No, I don't see an agreement.
Liberals saying no. Okay.
We're going to move on. Mr. Kuzmierczak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to begin as we move into November, Mr. Yao. I just wanted to say thank you for your service in our armed forces, and so thank you very much, Mr. Yao, for that. This is a question to both of you. What percentage, roughly, what percentage of your revenue, annual revenue, are federal contracts?
Approximately 99%.
Okay. And is it all federal? Do you have, for example, contracts with the provincial government, or is it 99% federal contracts?
Yeah, no, our expertise is around working with federal government.
Okay. Dalian and Cordex, you found yourself at the center of this storm, and there's accusations, fraud, for example, misconduct that are being leveled. Looking back, what would you do differently?
Yeah, I understand. In this case, the optics were brought forward because of these CVs, and like I mentioned earlier, we're extremely disappointed that this has happened, and we are making changes to our quality management system, and we are going to review more closely our arrangements with third parties and the consultants that are provided to us. And I think as a starting point, attestations from not only the subcontractor, but the subcontractor's consultants will be a requirement of any task authorization for us going forward.
Do you see, I mean, you guys have been around for 30 years. Do you see, inflating numbers to score higher points to get contracts? Does that happen? How frequently does that happen?
I'm not entirely sure. I understand. Could you be more like with respect to an RFP or a particular contract?
Yeah. So for example, in this instance, there's accusations and evidence that, that numbers were being inflated in terms of the experience of a certain subcontractor. Is that typical in federal contracting, where again, experience numbers are inflated in order to be able to get the contract? Do you see that, and how endemic is that issue? How frequent is that issue in your experience?
Yeah, it is not a normal practice, and unfortunately the errors, the administrative errors on those CVs were a mistake. As far as bill rates and contract rates in the federal government, it's a highly competitive business. There are over 300 companies, and most of the RFPs that we respond to are a combination of financial and technical scores. This does nothing but drive rates down to extremely competitive levels. All of the rates that we use are consistent with market rates in the IT industry.
So let's talk about ArriveCAN, since we are doing an ArriveCAN study. You guys have a piece of the puzzle that you designed over some time. The ArriveCAN app was used by 60 million travelers to cross safely across the border. Now, when we talk about travelers, we're also, I imagine, talking about people that are bringing across medicine, food, other important supplies. So making sure that in this national emergency we have a clear flow of traffic. That was something that was absolutely critical. The Conservative state, that had they been responsible during this pandemic, they would have designed an ArriveCan that cost $200,000 and delivered that for Canadians during our national emergency, health emergency. Can you tell us what the Conservatives would have delivered to Canadians for $200,000?
Mr. Chair, and to the member, I can't speak to what could have been delivered for $250,000. I can only comment on what our contributions were and the task authorizations that we received from CBSA.
But can you speak to, again, you have a lot of, look, you guys are IT specialists. You've been working on projects for 30 years. Can you tell us, there is a cost that was obviously attached to the ArriveCan. Can you tell us why an ArriveCan cost $54 million? Can you speak to that?
So I can,
and briefly, Mr. Wood.
I certainly, and I can give you my opinions on that. We only worked on parts of ArriveCan. We delivered the work we were asked to by clients on our contracts. The ArriveCan app, it's not an app that people use. It's not Candy Crush. They weren't ordering pizza with this. It needed to interface with a number of complex and highly secure systems, including border security and passports. Moreover, like this app, it needed to ensure Canadians' passports and health information was fully secure and protected. Remember too, we needed to remember this application was being built during the pandemic. People were getting sick. They were needing to isolate. People were dying. There were lockdowns. There were travel restrictions. This is not a $250,000 endeavor. We're dealing with citizens' private information. And with all this going on, the government of Canada was building an application for Canadians to upload their most personal and sensitive information to help slow the spread or stop the spread of COVID in our country.
I'm gonna have to cut you off there, Mr. Wood. We're going to move on, but perhaps you can get back at another round. Ms. Vinola for 2.5, please.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Monsieur Wood,
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Wood, what is this address in Toronto for Cordix?
Mr. Yeo is more appropriate to answer.
J'ai pas demandé d'Aliane, j'ai demandé Coradix.
Yes.
I meant Cordix.
So we are in the process of trying to expand. We've done very well in the area of the NCR, and through what we call Coradix Technologies. Sorry.
J'ai demandé.
I asked about this mailing address for Coradix that is located in Toronto. I don't want to know about any plans to expand. I'm asking about this address in Toronto. So it says on your website, 609 Brewer Street West in Toronto. Apparently, your neighbors are a barbershop, Tibetan Papers Handicrafts, and on the second floor, there's something else. There's no Cordix there.
We sometimes partner with a company called Core GTA.
OK. Donc, vous avez beaucoup de partenaires. Vous avez beaucoup de partenaires, mais pas de lieu à vous.
So you have lots of partnerships, but no office there. Having said that, based on the answers we've heard today, here's my question. What was the point of GC Strategies, aside from charging more or acting as an intermediary? What was their purpose, and what did they bring to the table, and what did you bring to the table? If it seems that everyone aside from you and GC Strategies was doing the work.
Yeah. So probably a question that's more appropriate for GC Strategies. However, I can tell you and that GC Strategies was working with Bottler for over a year, marketing to public safety, to departments in the public safety domain. So that's the relationship between those two companies. As far as our involvement, this contract was competed for and won at a significant cost in 2019. We held the contract. There are no stipulations in our contracts with the Government of Canada that prevent us from doing this. Partnerships are encouraged by PSPC.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Woods. Mr. Johns for 2.5, please.
So, Mr. Wood, how many staff do you have at Gordex?
Approximately 40.
40. And what office do they work in?
We're on Somerset. We have 2 floors that accommodates about 70 employees.
Okay, but the mailing address is in Toronto?
No, that is not. Our mailing address is in Ottawa.
Okay. In terms of the staff that you have, do you have many former Government of Canada employees?
No.
No, okay. It's a highly competitive industry. Is there a lot of vendors like GC Strategies that you're dealing with that are coming to you?
Yeah, from time to time, clients will ask us to consider working with other companies to deliver against a project, and it's something that occurs in our industry. But it's not, it's clients become aware of these arrangements.
Do you find them pretty unique then, GC Strategies, and what they do?
I'm not entirely familiar with GC Strategy. Yeah.
And I'm going to go back to Mr. Yeo. Thank you again for your service, sir, and I do as well want to add to that. So I hope it doesn't come across wrong, but I want to talk about the allegations Bottler made around the set-aside program for Indigenous businesses. And as I stated, I highly support it. In terms of the work you listed for Ms. Dudd and Ms. Morv as consultants, has PSPC audited or required evidence from you as per the requirements of the Indigenous Set-Aside Program? And second, would you be willing to provide that evidence to this committee? Because right now, they stated that they were hired on a contract through the Indigenous Set-Aside Program, and they're not Indigenous. Can you speak to that?
Certainly, I appreciate that, Chair, and the honourable member. The aspect of us creating the Indigenous track on the contracting side of things allows us to hire pretty much whoever we want as far as consultants are concerned, but the Indigenous side of it and the PSAB, the PSIB side of it is an auditable and it is audited on every JV that we do. So if we do a JV with Craddox and we win a contract or a task authorization, it is audited by ISC.
Are you concerned about how this audit's going to play out?
No, not at all, because it's. I believe, Colin can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that we already went through an audit process.
Because the work they did was supposed to benefit Indigenous businesses and people, and it hasn't.
Mr. Chair,
and that is our time. If you have a very quick response, Mr. Wood.
Yeah, the PSIB program is designed to help Indigenous entrepreneurs. There are 50 other companies doing similar work under TBIPS. It's not, the program is designed to help Indigenous people build up and scale and grow their businesses. It's not meant to have Indigenous, its purpose isn't to bring on Indigenous IT subcontractors. Yeah. I think there's some confusion there.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Wood. We're entering our final 2 interventions. Mr. Genuis and Mr. Souza. We're running a few minutes late, Mr. Wood and Mr. Yeo. I hope you'll stick with us for 7 minutes late. I'm going to be ruthless with exactly 5 minutes and we'll cut off. So if we could stick that, please. Go ahead, Mr. Genuis.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Yao, you represent a 2-person company that receives contracts and then subcontracts, and you've received millions of dollars from taxpayers for the process of receiving contracts and then subcontracting. So what would you say you do here?
Chair and honourable member, you speak about what do I do, but I have to go back to the beginning. The amount of effort
I think you do. I'm not looking for prevarication or distraction. What is it that you do for the Government of Canada in exchange for millions of dollars?
I don't know if it's exchange for millions of dollars because there's so much overhead to running a bricks and mortars business here in Ottawa expenses relating to, Indigenous employees that I have, Indigenous consultants that we pay.
You don't have employees. There's two of you who are partners.
I do. Yeah, and they're Indigenous.
You have two employees. That's what you told the committee earlier.
Yes, that's correct.
What is it that you do?
What is it that I do? I manage.
What does your company do?
Well, it's a kind of so you're asking two things there, right? The aspect of what I do is an executive on the board of directors for Dalian, and looking at governance and the way that the company is run on a daily basis. And I've earned that by building the business over 23 years. So,
sir, you're a company with two people, right? So I appreciate that you have to pay office expenses and you have to manage your partner's activities, I suppose. But what do you do? What does your company do? What value does it produce? What is it that you do?
Our value add really is in the area of project management and contracts management as it relates to federal government contracting.
So the federal government gives you a contract. You give the contract to somebody else. And you're telling me that the value you add, you subcontract to someone else. And you're telling me that the value you add is in the process of project management. So what does that mean? What do you do? Because we've been told earlier that the subcontractor deals directly with the federal government in terms of many of the details of it. So what do you do?
On a daily basis, that's true. The subcontractor does deal with the task authorization or the technical authority on a daily basis. But in behind all of that is all of the plurality of, whether it's security clearances and billing and ensuring that the actual contract, we're the prime on the contract. So we also ultimately are responsible for the overarching contract management of everything that goes on.
Well, I understand that you're the prime on the contract, which means that you collect the money. But if the federal government is dealing directly with the subcontractors, and if there have been various problems along the way that have been identified in terms of the results anyways, I'll ask it again. What do these words you're saying actually mean? What is it that you do here?
Well, I will pass this off to Colin.
I'm actually interested in what you do first, Mr. Yao.
I have answered that, and I am an executive on the board of directors for Dalian, and I maintain all of the governance as it relates to the PSAB and make sure that the company is absolutely in line, in step with everything that relates to procurement and government contracting within the federal government.
But you don't actually make anything or produce anything, right? So you're making sure all of these things, but fundamentally
we're providing a service. We're providing.
But what is that service? Like if Stephanie gives me $100 to paint her fence, and then I hire Larry for $50 to paint the fence, what have I done? I've just received money and then hired someone else to do the same thing. And you can call that subcontracting. You can call that project management if you want. But I haven't done anything, right? Like you don't actually do anything for the money you receive, right?
There is a lot that we do, actually. As a matter of fact, we spend hours and days and weeks, replying to RFPs and replying to creating bid responses that cost thousands and thousands of dollars that some we win and some we lose. So, I mean, there's so much, background activity that goes on in the contracting world. It's not just a matter of, doing A and B and getting C, collecting money for C. It's not that simple. There's a lot of background activity that happens.
This is so fascinating. There's a lot of room to save money.
Gentlemen, I'm sorry, that is our time. I said I was going to stick to 5 minutes. Mr. Sousa, please, for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, guys. And I really appreciate, Mr. Yeo, your military service to Canada. I just wanted you to recognize, and we appreciate what you've done over that period of time. And I know these are tough situations right now, and all of us have a lot of questions in terms of the activity by which this contracting process takes place. So we appreciate your patience in trying to get some clarity as to how these practices take place. And I just wanted to understand, Mr. Wood, if the practices that you're implementing today, are they exactly the same way as it was 10 years ago?
Yes, and if Mr. Chair and to the member, can I take a moment to explain what it is we do?
Please proceed.
We are an IT consulting company or an IT staffing company. The key components of our business are in proposals, they're in recruitment and account management. We also have teams in IT, we have teams in innovation, and we also have a finance and administration team and a small team that handles our security. Our focus in this business that allows us to do work in the federal government is all around proposals. Last year, we responded to 93 proposals at a significant cost. We win under 10% of those proposals. Once we are awarded contracts, we then are sent task authorizations by our clients, and those consultants are found and searched through our recruitment teams. Last year, our recruiters had over 1,500 meetings with consultants, and we do this so that when we do win contracts and we are successful and the government awards us these vehicles, that we're able to successfully deliver against them with the best talent we can find so that they stay and they fulfill their contracts and complete the work.
All right. Mr. Wood, thank you for clarifying, because we understand the complexities that are required in these contracts. They're no easy task. If you go onto opencanada.ca, much of what has been requested of you is there listed as well, and there's a lot of contracts that both Coredex, Dalian, GC Strategies, quite a bit of it is outlined there, and it's confusing to us because there's so much, and we're trying to understand specifically what these contracts mean. And in regards to Bottler specifically, you had, to clarify, you had no relations with Bottler.
No.
It was regards to a pilot, nothing around ArriveCan, and any amounts outstanding between Bottler and GC Strategies was amongst themselves. You had no opportunity to oversee what Bottler was doing?
And correct. And Mr. Chair, and to the member, Bottler was paid for the work they delivered.
Right. Thank you. Is RCMP investigating you right now?
No. We have, not that I'm aware of, I have had no discussions with the RCMP.
So RCMP is not investigating anything in regard to ArriveCan at this point, as far as you know?
I can't speak for RCMP as far as I know.
No, that's true. I apologize for that. So the process by which you're operating today, the process by which Dalian operates today, even with your joint venture, is exactly the same as it's been for the last how many years?
Since 2004.
And that was under a previous government as well? As well?
That was on.
Yeah, you were operating in the same way under the former government.
Yep.
Okay. In respect to the processes of which is under the allegations that you're facing, how do you respond to that?
Yeah, as Mr. Chair, I will respond. And first, I'd like to clarify an earlier comment by a member that the Bottler project was $4.3 million. It's completely incorrect. It was a $140,000 contract.
And your engagement with GC Strategies, do you have any? You have none right now?
No, we're not working with GC Strategies right now on anything.
So they're not subcontracting from you at this point, ever?
They're not.
And the issues going forward, given the circumstances that you're facing now, have you changed the way you operate?
Yeah, I was explaining that earlier. We do take it seriously. These audits that we go through by the International Standards Organization are intense, and our processes, the audits are on our processes, and we are audited every year, and we are currently certified under the International Standards Organization. In addition to that, part of that is a quality management system, and we are examining what went wrong and how we can ensure it doesn't happen again.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
Great. Mr. Wood, Mr. Yeo, that is our time. Thank you for sticking around an extra 9 minutes past the 1 hour mark. I suspect we might see possibly an invite for you to return, but in the meantime, We will be excusing you. Thank you for your time with us today, gentlemen.
Mr. Chair and honorable members, I do appreciate all of the work that you do and appreciate the time that we've had today. And merci beaucoup.
Thank you.
Thank you for recognizing the work of the chair. Thanks, Mr. Yo. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Yeah, point of order?
Sure, just give me
sure.
2 seconds. Have they left us? Oh, wonderful. November 7th, is it? Yeah, sure. November 7th, we've got Mr. McDonald and Mr. Utano have confirmed. Ms. Kusi, go ahead.
Yes, Chair. I just wanted to, given that we had Dalian and Coradix here today, I was putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable, Coradix. I'm wondering where we're at, please, with GC Strategies. When are they scheduled to appear, please?
There's just an update. The ministers were on the original motion, will not be joining us, which is, let's be honest, not a surprise. GC Strategies, the other one outstanding ones, now that we've confirmed Mr. McDonald and Mr. Utano, there's GC Strategies and Mr. Brennan. Individually, Mr. Brennan has declined. GC Strategies is playing hard to get. It would be a polite way of saying it is we have not been able to get a commitment from them despite our clerk going above and beyond trying to accommodate them. So we're having difficulties with them.
Okay, that's very disappointing to hear. I think we've seen, again today from the testimony that we received, that they are central to determining what's going on exactly and what is happening. And so I think it's of the utmost importance, and I believe my colleagues agree, that we get them in front of this committee once again. And so I think I'm prepared at this point, Mr. Chair, to put forward a motion of summons, and I'll read that into the record now. That in the context, excuse me? Yep.
It will require separate.
Yes, I'm just referring to GC Strategies.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me. Thank you. That in the context of the study of the ArriveCAN application, GC Strategies be summoned to appear before the committee on Thursday, November 2nd by the chair.
Oh, we require names, not a company, sorry.
Oh, excuse me. That in the context of the study of the ArriveCAN application, sure, yes, exactly. Mr. Kristen Firth.
And Darren Anthony.
Pardon me?
And Darren Anthony.
And Darren Anthony, thank you so much. Be summoned to appear before the committee on Thursday, November 2nd.
Thank you. Fine. Thank you very much. I think that was our second date we had offered them, but thank you very much.
Okay.
Be it so.
Another.
Oh, hold on 2 seconds. Sorry.
Yep.
Yes, at 3:30, I will assume.
Yes, please.
Wonderful.
Sorry, for the full 2 hours.
Thank you.
That is correct.
Mr. Genuis. Yep. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, given the appearing centrality of Mr. Brennan as determined by the evidence of Bottler, I would also like to move a motion, Mr. Chair, to summon Mr. Von Brennan. Thank you. And this one I will provide more flexibility. That in the context of the study of the ArriveCAN application, Mr. Von Brennan be summoned to appear before the committee at a date and time to be determined by the chair.
Are we fine with that, colleagues? Yes. We've only been declined once by Mr. Brennan, so we'll choose an open date and fit him in and advise the committee for 2 hours. The same?
For 2 hours, excuse me. I should have added that. Thank you so much.
Mr. Johns, you had your hand up earlier?
Just be really quick. We haven't had the Chief Executive Officer of Canada Post show up at this committee for a long time now. And can I just ask for support from everybody here to invite the CEO, Mr. Doug Ettinger, to appear before the committee?
Sure. Did you want to make that as part of the sub-Cs when they come out?
Sure. Happy to do that as well. Yeah.
Colleagues, are we fine with that as part of the sub-Cs process? Right. I understand it's rumored they're going to be out next week, so we might be able to determine time then. But if that's fine with everyone, we'll wrap it into that. Mr. Kuzmierczuk, and then Ms. Finola, did you have something? No, Mr. Kuzmierczuk, then Mr. Genuis, and then...
Mr. Chair, I'm fully in support of the summons for Thursday. I just wanted to know when they will be served that summons.
I'm sure they're watching right now. Will probably require at least 24 hours.
We require 24 hours, right, to give them. So, okay.
But I don't have the exact time.
Okay, gotcha.
24 hours, they're going to be
served. Mr. Genuis?
Flexibility for Thursday.
Thank you, Chair. We had some issues arising during testimony regarding documents that the committee, I think, will require. So I'd like to seek the agreement of the committee to request all task authorizations related to work done by Coredex, Dalian, and GC Strategies for the Government of Canada. Is there agreement for that?
Sorry, could you repeat that and allow our clerk just to type that in?
Yeah, so copies of all task authorizations related to work done by Coredex, Dalian, and GC Strategies for the Government of Canada from the companies.
Okay. Yeah. Can we set a date, please?
30 days is fine.
30 days. I see agreement. Thanks.
Yeah, and then additionally, Chair, copies of or a list of all subcontractors used by Coredex, Dalian, and GC Strategies for Government of Canada contracts.
Yep. Okay, Mr. Shawari?
I'm not sure what is specific. I understand the purpose of that. And I understand we are trying to establish, to see whether, because of the perceived tampering, whether there are others. But specifically, what type of information are you asking for? Their first name, last name? Are you asking for the resume? Are you? What is it that's being asked? Because if they have 1,500 resumes, at least they claim they have 1,500 resumes. 476 of those are already working on federal government, and I just.
So are you looking for contracts to the subcontractors, invoices? Because with the GC, we actually got invoices from their from GC of who they've subcontracted to. Are you able to define a bit clearer?
So in this particular case, I was asking simply for a list of all subcontractors by these three companies for work done by the Government of Canada. So look, if there's 1,500 names, I'm sure they have a list of them, and they can print. I actually think this is pretty straightforward, simple information. Presumably, they have a list of people they've subcontracted to, and they can print it off and send it in. Now, if that list contains, Bob with no further qualifying information, the committee would likely want to follow up and say, who's this Bob that you subcontracted
Could
to?
we set a time limit so we're not going as commented, as Mr. Pawlowski's commented about? I think one of them was 32 years.
Well,
Mr. Johns, is it the same issue?
Can we just do it I think Mr. Sosa the other day did a 12 years.
That's fine.
To go back. Let's go back 12. Does that sound reasonable to keep consistency?
Are we fine with that? Eric?
Can I just ask this? If my colleague will read the full 12 years list?
List of subcontractors? Yes. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's just a list. We're not looking for anything else.
So, sorry, in the list, we are asking for the first name, last name, or the name of the organization.
Well, I assume whoever you subcontracted to.
Yeah. So, Chair, initially, I think it's reasonable to request the list of who the subcontractors are, and I think it would be. I hope that list contains the relevant identifying information. as I say, if some of the subcontractors are listed as Bob's Garage or something, then I think we're going to want further information on who exactly works in Bob's Garage. But I think as an initial volley, it's fair to say we'd like the list of who the subcontractors are, so that we can use that information to get to the bottom of what happened.
Okay, so for back 12 years?
Yes.
I'm just going to get the clerk to read it back so that we're all clear.
Actually, with your permission, can I read both of them back?
Perfect. Go ahead.
Excellent, because I'm definitely going to need some clarification. So that the committee send for copies of all task authorizations of all past organizations for the government. I'm sorry, I really didn't get all of the wording there, but most importantly, that it be sent to, or that the documents be sent for from Coradix and Dalian. That was the absolute measure I wanted to be sure of. And if you could just indicate a little more, elaborate, all task authorizations of all past organizations for the government. I just need a little more clarification.
So those copies of all task authorizations related to work done by Coradex, Dalian, and GC Strategies for the Government of Canada. That was the first one that we agreed to. And then, I think you said we had to request it from someone. I had said from the companies themselves.
No, summons have to be named someone.
Oh, okay, sorry. These requests for information don't require that. Okay.
Request for information as well, so that I can clearly task the assignment to whomever. So this will be going to both Coradix, Dalian, Coradix and Dalian.
And GC.
Oh, and GC? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a chance of getting overlap with the same information from all three parties? Just curious.
Maybe, but that would...
They said they had no compete. Dalian has no compete with GC, so there shouldn't be.
Okay, thank you.
And that was in 30 days following the adoption of this motion. Did you wish to set a time, or do you want 11:59?
Noon.
Yeah.
That is very much appreciated. Thank you, sir. And then the second order for production of documents, so that the committee send for a list of subcontractors used by Coradix, Dalian, and GC Strategies for Government of Canada contracts for the previous 12 years. So it's sending for documents from Dalian, Coradix, and GC Strategies, and the documents be provided to the clerk of the committee in 30 days following the adoption of this motion. If you want to set a time, that'd be appreciated as well.
Noon.
Thank you, sir. Does that accurately capture?
So, unless there's something else, we'll finish 3 minutes early. We are adjourned. Thank you, colleagues, for working through this. Thank you very much.